First, I'd like to start out by saying thank you for using the Simply Color Lab and Simply Canvas video tutorial system. My name is Emily Sullivan, and today I will be showing you how to size a file appropriately in Photoshop for use in a natural gallery wrap. So the first thing that I've done is to open my image in Photoshop, as you can see, and I'm just going to take a hold of this bottom right corner and just drag it open a little bit so that I have a bit more working space in the palette surrounding the image. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to start sizing the image. What I'd like to achieve is a natural gallery wrap with a front face of 16 inches by 24 inches. For the sake of a natural gallery wrap, we will need to add an additional 2 inches per dimension to accommodate the stretcher bar. And the way that this works is that for standard stretcher bar depth, we'll be adding 1.5 inch per dimension just to accommodate that 90-degree angle turn around the side of the stretcher bar, and an extra 1/2 inch where the canvas wraps around the back of the stretcher bar where it is stapled and assembled. So that's how we come up with that extra 2 inches. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to come up to Image, scroll down to Image Size, and this palette will appear for you that gives you all of the sizing options for your image. So you can see that right now my document is sized at 8 by 10 and it has a resolution of 300 ppi or pixels per inch. So I'd like to start resizing my image by simply changing the shortest side, which is the 8 inches. This is going to ensure that no portion of your image gets inappropriately clipped. So I'm going to come down to Resample Image and unclick that. What that's going to do is both lock in the pixel dimensions found at the very top, as well as lock together all three sizes, the width, the height, and the resolution. So I'm going to change that 8 to 20, because remember I'm going for a 16 by 24, which is going to turn into a 20 by 28. And then I'm going to hit OK. The next thing that I'm going to do is to come into my Layers palette, which I have available for me right here on the right hand side of my screen. If yours was not visible, you would come up to Window, scroll down to Layers, click on it, and your Layers palette would appear for you. So you can see that this layer right now currently is locked, and I'm just going to double click on it, and it's going to ask me to rename the layer to Layer 0. I'm going to click OK, and what that does is makes this a workable layer at this point. So we can go ahead and proceed. Now I'm going to come back up into Image, and this time I'm going to scroll down to Canvas Size. What I'm going to do now is set the appropriate height for the image. Remember that we've already set its width, but now we're going to set its height. We can see what the current dimensions are. All the way up at the top we have a 20 by 25 inch canvas and image. They're currently the same size. So before I start, I'm going to make sure that this relative box remains unchecked and that my anchor point is at the center. That's going to ensure that any dimension that I add is going to evenly distribute itself along any dimension that it's added to. So if, for example, I add 4 inches to the height, it's going to add 2 inches to the left margin and 2 inches to the right margin. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to change this height to 28 inches. And I will click OK. So now you can see that at the top and the bottom margins on the height we have a canvas that extends beyond the size of the image. So what we're going to do now is to use a tool called Free Transform, and that's found up under Edit. We'll scroll down to Free Transform, and you're going to see that we have several anchor points available to us. We do want to grab one at the corner, and I'm using a Mac. I'm going to hit Shift Option, and I'm just going to pull that image until it fills the picture plane. So by holding Shift and Option at the same time, that just ensures that there's no distortion while I do Free Transform. It holds the proportions of the image as it is. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to come up here and check to apply the free transformation. So I'm going to start pulling a few guides. So I do want to pull them at 2 inches, and these guides, what they're going to do is to show me where my canvas is going to start wrapping around to the side and the back of the stretcher bar. So I pull the guides from the ruler, and once I get close to that 2-inch mark, I'm going to hit my shift key and then release my finger on my mouse. And what that's going to do is to ensure that that guide snaps itself exactly on that 2-inch dimension. So at 18, I'm hitting shift and I'm letting go of my finger on the mouse. So now I can see exactly where my canvas is going to wrap around the back and the sides of the stretcher bar, and make sure that I'm happy with that before I move any further. If you did want to make a change to your composition at this point, you could just use your arrow keys on your keyboard, and you can see that I'm scrolling up a little bit. We did apply that free transformation, so we do have a little bit of extra image around the sides and the top and bottom. Do be careful. You can see right now on the bottom margin of my screen that my image is lifting above the total canvas size. You do want to be aware of that and make sure that if you need to add a little bit more dimension to your canvas, that you just go back into Edit, Free Transform, hold Shift and Option, and just pull your image out a little bit more, and then you'll have the freedom to change the composition with those arrow keys as you would like. So the last thing that I need to do before I save my image is to go back up into Image and Image Size. And I do already have the width and the height set, as we've done that prior, but now I need to change the resolution. We do wait until the very end to change the resolution on an image, just to ensure that no undue stretching or pixelation happens as a result of increasing or decreasing a resolution. So what I'm going to do is make sure that Resample Images is checked and that Constrain Proportion is also checked. The constrained proportion is going to make sure that the width and the height are locked in together, and that likewise my pixel dimensions are locked in together. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that resolution and change it to 100. And then before I click OK, I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom, and we have enlarged this image from an 8x10 to a 20x28. So I'm going to choose the option for Bicubic Smoother, which is best for enlargement. So we'll go ahead and click that and click OK, and you'll see that the image resizes itself. So now that I have all the sizing appropriate and I'm sure that I'm happy with the way that my image is going to wrap around the side and the back of the canvas, the last thing that I need to do is to come up into File, and save the image. So we're going to go ahead and save this image. And we need to save it with a name that just implies that it has been sized. So I'm going to write the name of the little girl and write resized. And then put it in a location where I will remember where it is, and that's easy to find. I'm going to just put mine on my desktop. And then we're going to change it from a TIFF to a JPEG. Once all of that has been done, we'll click Save. And then we'll be brought to a page with the JPEG options. We do ask that you save your JPEGs of the highest possible quality, which is the quality number 12, which you can do by either typing that in or moving the slider all the way to the right under Large File, and click OK. Now your image is saved to your desktop and it's prepared for upload into the Simply Canvas Rose system so that you can order your natural gallery wrap stretched canvas. So once again, I'd like to thank you for spending your time learning how to set up your files in Photoshop for a natural gallery wrap. My name is Emily Sullivan, and we look forward to doing business with you in the future.